Hello and welcome to CBA coming to you from Hargeysa, Somaliland. This is the news in brief with me, Abdillahi Hassan. The Speaker of Somaliland's House of Elders, Saleban Mahmoud Adan, defended the term extension for both chambers of the parliament, maintaining that no election will be held before that. In a defiant speech, the Speaker urged the opposition parties to accept the reality that elections will not be held before the scheduled time. He accused them of exaggerating the dispute over the elections. The Speaker was opening the 71st session of the House of Elders today. Last year, the House of Elders extended the term of the House of Representatives by 2 years, postponing the local and parliamentary elections in the process. The delay was not welcomed by the opposition parties and proved not popular with the public. Somaliland is caught in the middle of an electoral impasse that threatens the legitimacy of most of its government branches. Except for the president, all other elected officials have grossly overstayed their term in the office, the parliament by 15 years and the local government is by 3. Somalia is attending the Arab Interparliamentary Union, which held an emergency session in Amman, Jordan, to discuss the implications of the so-called deal of the century amid expectations of widespread condemnations from the 21 Arab parliaments participating in the meeting. A delegation led by the Speaker of the Federal Parliament of the Federal Republic of Somalia, Mohammed Mursal Sheikh Abdurrahman, arrived in Amman, the capital of Jordan, on Wednesday to attend the 30th Arab Parliamentary meeting. The Arab Parliamentarians Union agreed on signing the bilateral relations with the U.S. government that was recently approved by the U.S. President Donald Trump. The delegation arrived in Jordan yesterday at the airport and were welcomed by the Jordanian officials, including the Deputy Speaker of the Jordanian Parliament, Ibrahim Al-Quran. The Speaker of the Parliament and his delegation are expected to hold meetings with their Jordanian counterparts to strengthen relations between the two countries. Atif Traune, the Jordanian Speaker, called for an informal meeting on Friday and agreed on preliminary closing statement, including about 11 items that support the Palestinian Authority in rejecting the U.S. deal. Arab parliamentary sources confirmed that the statement will reject the peace plan, including the recognition of Jerusalem as a unified capital of Israel and recognition of Israel's sovereignty over the Jordan Valley and the northern Dead Sea. The embattled Jubaland Security Minister Abdillahi Hassan has claimed he was aided by federal government officials to escape custody in Mogadishu. Abdillahi Hassan said he was transferred from a house to another several times before his escape. The minister, whom the federal government issued an international warrant for his arrest last week, said the soldiers who were guarding him had been instructed to harm him, but they did not. The federal government accuses Abdillahi Hassan of atrocities against civilians in Garowe region. However, he maintains that his detention was about his refusal to back the federal government in the last Jubaland presidential election. The federal government deployed hundreds of soldiers to Beledweyn and neighboring districts in the past week in what is seen as a move to tame Garowe's administration amid ongoing row between Mogadishu and Kismayo. Addressing claims that he had marshaled soldiers in Beledweyn against the federal government, Hassan said he was merely reorganizing the soldiers who have been comprised during his detention. Amplified pictures on social media showed Hassan clad in military fatigues addressing some soldiers. Amnesty International accused Hassan of human rights violations and civilian killings during his stint as district commissioner in Garowe, but he dismissed the claims, noting any deaths may have been a collateral damage in clashes between Jubaland forces and Al-Shabaab. The President of the Federal Republic of Somalia, Mohammed Abdillahi Hassan, has signed the Petroleum Act after two houses of parliament have finalized the legal framework for its implementation. The President pointed out the importance of the law to the Somali people and government, as this law guards the rights of our citizens by being a barrier to protect against corruption, foreign greed, and corruption. In addition, the implementation of the Petroleum Act demonstrates to the international investors the commitment commitment of the government of Somalia and the Somali people to achieve the vision for the country's stability and jointly move forward into the Commonwealth progress. President Mohamed Abdillahi Farmajo thanked both the speakers of the Federal Parliament of Somalia, the cabinet lawmakers and all Somali experts who took part in the effort to make this a legacy law. The Petroleum Act adopted by the President of the Republic is based on the country's petroleum and mineral laws, the Constitution and the Convention on Ownership, Management and the Natural Resources Sharing Agreement signed in Baidoa. Currently, Somalia does not produce any oil. However, seismic data has revealed potential for substantial offshore oil reserves that could transform the country's economy. The Somali government hopes the petroleum law will help restore the confidence of big oil companies like ExxonMobil and Shell, who once held legacy blockages from the 1990s. While the 33rd African Union Summit is held in Addis Ababa, the Republic of Djibouti reaffirms its ambition to sit as non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. 5 of the 10 non-permanent members of the Security Council will be elected at the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly to be held in June 2020 in New York. The countries voted for the cities who will serve in the Security Council for a year. Africa is required by statute to be entrusted with one of the 5 cities, and according to tradition of regional rotation adopted by the African Union, it is East Africa's turn to apply. In this regard, Djibouti is competing with Kenya for the Security Council seat. Kenya has beaten Djibouti in a vote for the African Union nomination to the non-permanent Security Council seat. However, Kenya fell short of winning the official endorsement of the continent, since it fell short of securing 2/3 of the vote. Djibouti needs to win at least the votes of 2/3 of the UN member states when the election is held in June this year. The Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has arrived in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, aiming to tighten relations as the country campaigns for a United Nations Security Council seat. Trudeau is to visit Ethiopia and Senegal as well as Germany before his trip ends on February 14th. In Addis Ababa, he met Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, the 2019 Nobel Peace Prize winner, appointed after several years of anti-government protests, and Sahle Work Zewde, the country's first female president. He will additionally meet with leaders attending the African Union Summit. The final leg of the tour will take Trudeau to Germany for the Munich Security Conference. Canada is seeking a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council, a position it has not held since the year 2000. Thank you for joining us. That was our news in brief. Stay tuned for a full and more detailed news coverage.